Good morning, my friends. Sheila Pearl here, early Monday morning. It's so cold, and I hope you're staying warm. So today is window number 3. I wanted to give you more tools as we proceed with this process of getting to know yourself better, looking into yourself, the truth-telling process, which is never ending, by the way. And by the way, yesterday, I spent all day with my spiritual community engaged in deep study about some of the questions that we talk about here and will be continuing to talk about. So here I am. I'm 77. I've been around the block a few times, taken lots of courses, doing lots of study, doing the deep dive, all that stuff. And I still continue to study with my community and to dig deep into understanding myself so that I can help you understand yourself. We're in this cosmic stew together. So good morning, Jessica. Good morning, Shirley Ann. Good to see you. So I have provided you with something called the map of consciousness. I will be uploading a printable version of this for you, but I've given you the image so that you can take a look at it. And it's something that's been devised by a brilliant doctor and psychiatrist, Dr. David Hawkins, who has written several books, the most seminal of which I love is Power versus Force. Another one is called Letting Go. And this map of consciousness comes from the work that Dr. Hawkins has done, which appears in Power versus Force. That's one of the books on your suggested reading list. And in this map, you see outlined in columns and colors and levels and divisions and a sense of upward motion versus downward motion of our energy. And he gives numbers to various aspects of our energetic states. For instance, the lowest, heaviest energy is shame, where we're feeling miserable, we're feeling humiliation, we're feeling thoughts of elimination, which would be suicidal thoughts. We're feeling a despising, a self-loathing, or a despising or loathing of others. It's the same energy. Whether or not you are despising yourself or despising someone else, that energy is the same in your body, and that brings you down. So if you're consumed by hate for someone else, that will go into your body and bring you down. It's the same as if you're hating yourself. Likewise, part of this, the lowest level is shame. So the extent to which any of us are walking around feeling shame for falling short of our goals, feeling shame for the mistakes that we've made, feeling shame for being in a relationship that we should have gotten out of a long time ago, feeling shame for not doing a better job raising our children, feeling shame for making stupid business choices and decisions. There's a whole list that you can come up with and I can come up with that leads us to feeling shame or self-loathing. And that is the heaviest energy. So we look at this map of consciousness, we look at this map of the levels and what at the top and what's at the bottom. What's at the top is bliss and peace and joy and feelings of perfection and oneness and completeness and serenity and all of these wonderful feelings that are at the top make us wonder, how are we going to get there? Because if I'm feeling shame and I'm feeling miserable and I'm feeling humiliation, I'm feeling embarrassed, so embarrassed that I want to walk outside and have people see me or have people know to what extent I've messed up my life. When we are down in the pit there, we can't see the pathway up. It's like it's so far away. But this map shows us that we can climb up those steps, step by step, number by number, increasing and raising our vibrational frequency. Sometimes within a nanosecond, if I can cause myself to feel deeply grateful, and I'm in an energy of gratitude, I am lifting my energy up, perhaps past that midpoint. So I want you to ask yourself, where on this chart are you today? Are you somewhat above the line? Are you above the number 200, which begins with courage? For instance, if you've been gripped by fear, fear is 100, right? And there are many things under it and above it, obviously. But fear is a very low, heavy energy. So how do you transform fear to something that lifts you above the line? Well, one of the ways you could do that is to dig deep and say, I'm going to grab my courage. I'm going to dig deep. I'm going to take a leap. I'm scared, but I know I've got courage in me that can help me. Call a friend. Call a couple of friends. Go to people you know believe in you and say, I'm falling down the slippery slope. I need some help. I need you to help lift me up. I need courage today. Sometimes you don't have someone you can call. That's happened to me. Then I have a conversation with myself. I've often said, I see you, fear. We've been down this road before. We've been through many things together. Here, take my hand, fear. I know you mean well. I know that fear means well. Fear wants to protect me from being hurt or disappointed. So it stops me from doing certain things that I otherwise want to do if I had the courage. So often I've had this conversation with fear saying, here, take my hand. We've been down this road before. Let's keep walking and let's together find courage. Let's find the courage within both of us. Very often, that voice of fear is that little child in us that says, I'm afraid. I don't think we can do this. And it's the adult in us that takes the hand of the child who's afraid and says, we got this. Let's just keep going. I know it's scary, but let's find the courage in both of us. And then, strangely enough, neutrality is above courage. So courage is a leap. And courage is acknowledging that there's a lot of fear there. If I can move up just a little bit, another 50 points of vibrational frequency, and I can reach the point of neutrality, it's neither bad or good. It's neither awful or wonderful. It just is. Neutrality is what often helps us to move further up that scale and to raise our vibrational frequencies even more. And then right above that is willingness. If there's a neutrality, I'm starting at 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. And the question is, how do I move on the scale of 1 to 10 up to 6 from 5? Intention, willingness, allowing, all of that opening up of ourselves, the willingness to keep going, stay on that path. I've already got courage. Now I'm neutral. I'm not seeing things as bad or good. I'm just kind of in that neutral place. Now I'm opening up another window, another doorway, another pathway, another level of vibrational frequency that's going to move me up that scale, so that I'm feeling much better now when I'm willing to let go of the fear. I'm willing to judge my situation. I'm willing to not judge the situation, rather. I'm willing to let go of the judgment. I'm willing to let go of my apprehension about what's going to happen in the future. I'm willing to just keep walking. And acceptance is even above willingness. So if I'm now looking at myself and I'm saying, there's so much about myself that I want to change. There's so many things about myself I don't really like the way it is. I don't like feeling angry, or I don't like feeling spiteful, or I don't like feeling fearful. I want to feel courageous. I want to believe in myself. it's the acceptance factor that allows us to continue to go. I accept that I feel afraid. I accept that I feel angry. I accept that there are times I feel great despair. I can accept that, but not hold on to it. I can look at it and say, that's a part of who I am, but that's not all of who I am. And I'm willing to allow myself to go up this ladder, this scale of vibrational frequency. And I'm willing to keep going because I want to feel that bliss. I want to feel that joy. I want to feel that peace. How many of you have said to yourself or to others, all I want is to feel peace and joy? Well, join the club. I want to feel peace and joy too. But in my conversation yesterday with members of my community, one of our members thrives on feeling chaos, thrives on feeling like on the edge and not feeling that peaceful. She almost feels guilty feeling calm and peace and joy because she believes somehow that she has to feel pain and suffering in order to do the work that she knows she's here to do on this planet in this lifetime. So it's interesting. We need to look at what we believe about who we are and what we feel and ask the question, is that really true? Or is that really necessary? Keep your mind open to the possibility that what you've been believing about yourself, thinking that it had to be in a particular way for you to be okay, may not be true. So as you can see on this chart, if you just look at the light green line right above the yellow line, right above the light yellow line, you have enabling, enabling, satisfactory, neutrality, trust, and release. Now, that's information because I think in terms of the other book that David Hawkins wrote called Letting Go, it's about surrender, that one of the powerful things we're able to do, it's the difference between power and force. So if we want to be in our own power, we want to be in our own strength, we need to be able and willing to release, to let go of things that we've been holding on to. Does that make sense? And so as you begin to see how all these things are linked and blended and a part of the various levels and layers that we all are. If I want to look at the lavender stripe at the top, where I see myself as oneness, where I see life as being complete, where I see enlightenment and peace as being something that's full joy. If I see that the ineffable of bliss is serenity, and if I see in my pure consciousness level of illumination, the transfiguration, whatever that may mean to any of us, gets a little lofty. For me, I have to think about what that might mean for me. But I can identify with this notion of oneness. I can identify with this notion of peace and joy and serenity. That doesn't mean that your life and my life are perfect in the way we thought it would have to be in order to feel at peace and at ease. That doesn't mean all the pieces are in place, that you've got the perfect job, that you've got the perfect relationship, that you've got enough money in the bank and all of that. Those are still part of the things that we're here to work on. Those of you who have known me long enough and read things that I write, you know that my message to you is your mess is your message. That the things that drive you crazy or the relationships that are difficult for you or the situations in your life that are, in a word, less than perfect or less than wonderful, those are your message. Those are the grist for the mill for you to work on in your life. And that's me too. So if you got a mess to deal with, whether it's literally a cluttering mess, which those of you who know me know I am the queen of clutter. I am. And so it's a constant battle for me to work on my inner clutter and my outer clutter, to really pay attention to what's getting in my way and clogging up all the pathways. Ask yourself today, what is your mess? And how does it make you feel? If the mess that you're in, if the conundrum that you have, if your life situation that you're in today leads you to feel shame, embarrassment, humiliation, that you want to find a way out, that you even perseverate, you think about ending it all because you just can't face it all. If you're feeling miserable and you despise your life and you despise other people and you despise yourself, that is the hugest red flag for you to pay attention to the fact that you need additional help and support. Probably one or two people, whether it's a professional or a good friend who loves you dearly, to help you lift you up that ladder. When you're in a very difficult, painful, tragic situation, if you suffered the loss of a loved one, if you're going through a painful divorce, something you don't want, and it is painful, it's not a release of misery, it's a cause of misery to having to face a divorce. These are things that cause us to feel those emotions that bring us down to the very bottom of this scale, to feel guilt and to feel fear and to feel grief and to feel shame. All of that can happen like this with a situation in your life that brings you right down. You could have been at the top of the mountain and now you're down at the bottom of the pit. This is when we need to acknowledge that we need support. You need a support group. You need a supporting friend. You need a supporting counselor or coach or therapist, someone who has the capacity to see the part of you that you can't see when you're in the pit. A wonderful book, which is not on my suggested reading list, but I will add it subsequently. It's called Positivity by Dr. Barbara Fredericks. And in this book, she literally proves to us that our positive attitudes allow us to see more of what's there all the time, and that our negative attitudes reduce our ability, literally, they reduce our ability to see what's right in front of our face. So it looks kind of like this. When we're in a state of peace and joy and bliss and serenity, we see so much around us. It's almost like we can look all around us and we can see the full spectrum of our lives, both outside and inside. When we're in a state of anger and fear and shame and misery and despair, our ability to see what's right in front of our face is diminished to the point where maybe you can see a small sliver of what's actually there. So reality is what we're able to see. And so your reality, when you're in a state of despair and shame and guilt and fear and all those things, your reality is very narrow. Your reality, when you're in a state of joy and serenity, is very big. Doesn't mean the situation is any better, but your ability to see it and to deal with it and to handle it and to manage it is very different, totally based on your consciousness, your awareness, your ability to lift your emotional mindset up to a level where you can have the hope of even seeing a little bit of what your life really is and what your possibilities really are and what your creativity is all about. You see how that works? So I'm hoping that this map of consciousness will give you something to look at and think about often that will help you to navigate your emotional world. Part of this journey of IntoMeSee is to fully appreciate the thoughts, the beliefs, the emotions, and the feelings and the emotions that we have that come from our thoughts and our feelings. that affect our consciousness directly, that affect our quality of being alive directly. And it's all in your power to shift and expand and grow and to manage every single day. So I will be giving you the upload for the map of consciousness so that you can print it out and see it, hold it in your hand, put it on your wall, put it in your notebook so that you have that to refer to and to wonder about and to ask yourself the question, how can I bring myself up to a higher vibrational frequency? I see here that forgiveness is one of those higher mindsets and energy fields, and acceptance and merciful, the capacity for being merciful, the capacity for generating harmonious situations, the capacity for acceptance, the capacity for forgiveness. We all have it. It's all there. It's only for you to acknowledge it, to claim it, to use it, to honor it in yourself. So I'll be posting some things to give you food for thought this week. Let me know what your thoughts are. Give me some comments about what's occurred to you this week about the whole idea of being truthful to yourself, of telling the truth to yourself about yourself. In round 2 of this, in the third, going into the 4th month of this program, we'll get into a deeper level of truth-telling, in which we're really going to circle back around and we're going to be talking about telling the truth about yourself to someone else. Not now. It's sometimes daunting to tell the truth about yourself to someone else. If you were here in my office, if we were having a conversation, and if you felt safe with me, we could facilitate that more quickly. But I'm going to be giving you homework in month 4 about how you can begin to tell the truth about yourself to someone else, someone that matters. In the meantime, I wish you a good week, a wonderful week, a week of joy, a week of fulfillment, a week of serenity. Just imagine how that would feel. Bye for now.